What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Spinfuel's Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and today we're going to be reviewing the Lemo 2. So before we get started, I do want to give a huge shout out to Ave40. This is the company that has given me this device for the purpose of review. They've been a long-time partner with Spinfuel, and I do want to give them a huge shout out for letting me do this video for you guys. And if you're a vendor or an online retailer or a local shop, make sure you check out them for any wholesale information about this device and many, many others. So without further ado, let's go right into the specs of this device. This is made from stainless steel. It is 510 threaded, just like every other device that I have. Fits really nice on everything. It is a RTA style device, which means you replace the coils by yourself. They don't have pre-made coils like the Atlantis or the sub-tanks. But it's fairly easy to build. It has nice dual airflow, which we'll show you in the close-ups. This is actually somewhat of a pre-production model. I did notice on the final version of this they did change a few things on it, but it's not really that much different. Nice wide bore tip, big airflow, plenty of vapor production, and it comes with a stock 0.5 ohm coil already built on it with Japanese cotton for wicking as well. Really not too much else to say about this. It's very similar to the K-Fun. It has a nice glass Pyrex tank. And yeah, so let's just show you a quick vapor production shot here. And today I'll be rocking the Lemo 2 on the IPV Mini 2, set at 30 watts, 4.2 volts with a 0.5 ohm stock coil. I've been using the same coil for about a month. And this is my custom painted IPV Mini 2 thanks to Jimmy. Thanks a bunch, Jim. This thing is awesome. I love it. And yeah, so decent vapor production for a stock 0.5 ohm coil, and I have a good feeling that I can also bump this up to about 40 or 50 watts without it burning. Flavor wise, it's top notch. The coil that comes on it is really, really good. I have yet to rewick this thing over a month of use. I am running the same juice that I started on it, which is Must Vape Handlebar, which I got around here somewhere. I got it in one of my Craft Vapery boxes, so yeah, that about does it for the specs. Let's go down to the close-up view and take a better look at this thing. Alright guys, so as you can see, we have our Lemo version 2 in its original box. I've gone ahead and dumped out the e-liquid and tossed that old cotton just to go on with this video. Anyways, as you can see, the updated picture with the Lemo 2. Nothing much to say about the sides, just the logos. Same thing with the top and bottom. And basic information on the back, nothing too fancy. There you go. And let's get into it. So, there she is, the Eleaf Lemo 2. We'll take that apart in just a second. Underneath, we have a little divider with a basic user manual, the thing I ignored when I first got it. Should have listened and should have read this thing, because it is helpful, I will tell you that. We have our Japanese cotton that it comes with, real nice that they send you, probably enough for, a couple months worth of builds there. And O-rings, full set of replacement O-rings with a little screwdriver as well, and Kanthal wire. Looks about to be maybe 26 gauge Kind of hard to tell. Wish they would market it. But we're going to go ahead, put that stuff all back. Manual, there we go. And we're going to take a look at this right here. So let's go down from the top to the bottom, get all the parts in there, show you a good close-up look at everything. And yeah, so first of all, we'll start with the drip tip. Nice wide bore tip, and hopefully you guys can see has the Spin Fuel logo on it. I've seen a few of the other reviewers have these as well. Pretty cool that they did that. You know, just gives us something to talk about really on the videos. But there you go. Dual O-rings. They are getting a little beat up, but you know, I don't really use this thing all too often. Nice wide bore tip as well. You can see that nice width there. One of the widest bore metal tips I've seen come with one of these style devices. And yeah, that's about it for the drip tip. Let's move on. And we have the top section here, which has our fill port. Nice Lemo 2 engraving, which I have seen. It's not an engraving, it's probably laser etched or printed or something, I'm not really sure. But the final version of this thing, this is a pre-production model. The final version has a slightly different font, which I actually prefer this font over the final version. But there's your fill port, and all you have to do to fill this thing is close off the airflow section there, open up your port, and it is a little bit sticky, but nothing really, no complaints other than the fact that, you know, you have to just grip it. So yeah, once your airflow is closed, you can open that up, just stick your needle or dropper down in there, give it a squeeze, or 2 or 3, and you should have a nice full tank. Capacity of this thing, I believe, is about 3.5 mils, which is pretty decent. It does last me quite a while with a 0.5 ohm coil on it. So this part also threads on and off, and then the rest of it comes with it basically. Nice big chunky O-ring there, and the drip tip fits nice and in. A little bit sticky, but I mean, it's never going to come out. That's the bonus thing. So here's your Pyrex clear tube section. Really not much to report here. Plain old, plain old. It's decent thickness, and I've never had problems with my glass tanks. I know I've seen other people break them. I usually keep a tank protector on mine just as an added level of security. Don't think it matters which way you put this thing up or down. The bevels all kind of feel the same on it. So there's that. Next you have the top of your chimney. With the O-ring. This O-ring does kind of tend to come off a little bit, so just keep an eye on it. But other than that, you can see the width of the bore is maintained all the way through, and if you look closely, you can see the coils in a decent amount of daylight. You can see the coil sitting right on top there, all the way down through the drip tip. So next we have the chimney. You know, pretty basic, all good stuff. Threaded. And finally, the building deck and the base. So I have uninstalled the cotton. I've taken out the cotton that was in there. This coil was pretty gunked up, but I quickly cleaned it, and it should be all ready to go. And I'm going to show you guys how to rewick in just a second. But that is the stock coil. Let me give you a little bit of a closer look. That's the stock coil that comes on it, and it does read right at 0.5 ohms. The thing I like about this with the building deck, how it has these holes on the sides here and here, So you can wrap your coils down and in rather than wrapping them around the actual screw heads themselves, which is a huge advantage over some of the other similar devices. Just much easier to build on. It kind of gives it that like angled look here and there too. It doesn't, you don't have to fuss around with one coil going under the bottom, one coil going over the top. And you can kind of see it, but the air hole underneath the coil, decent width, nice big chunky insulator underneath the positive, pretty decent sized juice well as well, or juice holes, or whatever you want to call them. So like I said, I've really not gotten a single dry hit with this thing, so no complaints there. Your airflow section, all you have to do is open it, whoop, like that. Pretty basic stuff. With the Eleaf logo, I'm pretty sure they either removed it or they moved that logo. I can't remember on the final version of this thing. And the bottom, it's non-adjustable, so it will only work with certain floating pins. If you have something that doesn't stick up very high, it might not work with your device. So just kind of make sure it'll work, or suffer the consequences, I guess. But there's the base piece. Not much else to report there. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back on my device, which I'm going to back off the camera. I'm going to put it back on my IPV Mini 2. Okay. And I'm going to get my tweezers. I'm going to make sure that coil is firing evenly. So as you can see, it's got a little bit of a hot spot towards one end. It's going to re-pinch up that coil. I'm not pressing the button, obviously. And there we go. Now it's glowing nicely. And still positioned right over the middle of the hole. And next I'm just going to grab some Japanese cotton. Today I'll be using Kogendo. And it's nothing against the stuff that comes with it, but I just prefer my go-to standard Kogendo cotton. So I have a sheet ripped off here. I'm going to use, it looks to be about a 1/8 inch coil in diameter, so I'm going to use a decent size piece. Hopefully this works. I might actually have too much. Alright, so you just want to thread it on through. You want it tight, but not too tight. That seems about right to me. And my scissors. I'm just going to do a quick trim. It's not going to be all the way good until I can feather these things through. Make sure they're cut to length. And this is what I do. I just cut them off right at the chimney. Just like that. And then I take off that. I'm going to splay this out just a little bit. I'm going to take my liquid. Give it a quick brush of liquid. Try to fill up these decks as much as I can without going overboard. And as I said in my K-Fun video, I'm not very good at all this stuff, so... Alright, so now we're just going to take our chimney, finagle it over the top, and thread it on. Okay, all seems to be pretty decent. Just kind of going to want just adjust these a little bit. I don't like touching it too much because I'm afraid it's going to leak, and it might end up leaking still, but you know, oh well. I'm just going to give it a quick little juice and a quick fire before I go ahead and fire everything up and put it all back together. So it doesn't smell burnt, so that means it's not too tight. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw it back together, and hopefully it works. Alright, so first thing you want to do when you fill it is close off those air holes and open up the fill section. Then you want to take your juice and fill away. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Careful, careful. You do want to go relatively slow. I mean, it's not the greatest design in the world, but it's way better than how they were before, where you had to take off the whole bottom section to fill it. I mean, you're going to end up wasting a little bit of juice, but that's just inevitable. I mean, it's nowhere near like, you know, like an old K-Fun or something like that. That's good enough. So I'm going to close this, wipe it down a little bit. Open back the air holes here, and let's go back to the main screen, have a quick vape, and talk about it some more. Alright guys, so that was the close-up section of the video. Now we're going to move on to some pros, some cons, my personal thoughts on this device, and whether or not I would purchase it if I did not receive it for free for the purpose of review. So first of all, we're going to start with the pros. First, I want to start with the drip tip. Although it's not the Delrin or acrylic drip tips that I'm used to and that I prefer, the drip tip that does come stock with this thing is really nice. As you saw in the close-up view, it's a really wide bore tip, and I like it because it also has the Spin Fuel little logo on there too, so that's kind of neat. Nice little special thing that they did for us over at Spin Fuel. Another thing that I like about it is that it's the price. My second pro is going to be the price. This retails for about $45 in a shop, or maybe somewhere around $35 online. And that is super cheap. If I had to compare it to anything, I would have to say that its closest is going to be probably the K-Fun 4 or K-Fun style device. Airflow is definitely on point. It's actually a little bit wider than the K-Fun 4 stock. I have yet to get the upgrade kit for my K-Fun 4, but I am curious about that. It's capable of sub-ohming with a peak insulator and a wider airflow section, but you lose the ability to control the airflow as well. So I'm planning on getting that for my K-Fun 4 just to, you know, kind of tell you guys how I feel about it. But if you don't want to spend the 180 bucks plus on a K-Fun 4, definitely go out and pick yourself up one of these bad boys right here. It gets the job done for not a lot of money, and the quality is definitely top notch as well. My third pro is going to be the filling port at the top. That's one of the biggest things about this device that really kind of sells it for me, is the fact that all you have to do is rotate it about 45 degrees, and then it opens up that filling port. You just close off your airflow before you fill it up with juice, close it up, and then open your airflow, and you're good to go. Super easy to fill, much easier than the previous version of this device, and I gotta say that's one of the biggest things that sells it for me, is the filling port at the top. My fourth and final pro is going to be the airflow. I love the airflow. No real restriction on it. It's, you know, decent for anyone that's looking to sub-ohm, cloud chase, you know, not so much cloud chase like the Arctic tank, but, you know, you do get plenty of flavor and plenty of vapor out of the stock airflow, and it is dual airflow as well, so it really doesn't leave you wanting any more on a tank system. So really decent device for the money. There are a few cons, however. My first con today is going to be the fact that it does tend to leak a little bit here and there. Like I said, I'm using the stock standard wicking and coil. As you saw in the close-up section, all I did was take out the wick, and you can see the coil that was installed previous to me receiving it. So I didn't change anything about this. This is not a custom setup whatsoever, but it does tend to leak a little bit here and there. I did have a few problems when I first went to fill it. I didn't read the instruction manuals. What can I say? I'm a guy. You know, we don't read instructions. And I didn't close off the airflow. So that first one was my fault. I'll take the blame fully for that, for sure. But even after that, I learned how to do it properly. I closed off the airflow, opened it up. I would get a few drops of liquid through the air holes at the bottom here. And if you're toting this thing around and, you know, not being rough on it, but just normal, you know, walking with it or anything like that, it does tend to leak about a drop or two of liquid out the bottom hole. And that I really kind of attribute to the wicking on this thing. It might jostle around a little bit and leak a little bit out the air hole. But other than that, it's really not a bad little device. I don't really have any more complaints about it, to tell you the truth. For the money, this thing is really stellar. So that's really all that I have for cons, honestly. All right, well, one other con, I guess, is a very subjective con. I love the look of this device that I have here, and as I stated earlier, this is kind of a pre-production model. I got this before it was actually released, and on the final version of it, I did notice that they put a few little marks on the top. They moved the logo down to the bottom, and they also changed the font on the logo, and I just think it's a little bit uglier now. I hate to admit it, but I like this version of the tank better than the final version. Very subjective con there, but that's, you know, my opinion, and I'm going to stick to it. Other than that, really no complaints. This thing is definitely a solid little device for the money. I do recommend anyone that's looking to get into somewhat of a sub-ohm tank but wants to maintain the ability to use your own coils to pick one of these things up. So yeah, whether or not I would purchase this device if I did not receive it for free for the purpose of review, and my answer would be probably yes, in the sense that if I was looking for a rebuildable tank atomizer and I didn't want to spend 180 bucks on a K-Fun 4, I would absolutely pick one of these up, and this would be my first thought. This would be the initial device that I would go to. Even over the sub-tank, mini or full size with the building decks on them. I prefer the building deck on this one a little bit more, and I do like the airflow on this one a little bit more, and the fact that you can fill it from the top is really convenient. So this would definitely be my first choice for an RTA. If I was in the market for an RTA, this is the one I would go with. So yeah, I mean, other than that, like I said, I really can't complain too much about this device. Loving it so far. If you're in the market for an RTA, make sure you go pick one up. Again, big shout out to Ave40 for giving me this device for the purpose of review. Thank you guys so much once again. I'll have the links in the description if you want to check them out. So yeah, that about does it for this video, guys. Don't forget to hit that like button if you like the video, and subscribe. Check out www.spinfuel.com for lots more of my videos, as well as Smoke and Joey and Spin Fuel videos. And as always, vape on.